The Library of Lost Things. A story about forgotten dreams, second shelves, and finding yourself in someone else's quiet. There was a library no one talked about. Not because it was hidden, but because it wasn't needed. At least, not in the way people thought they needed things. It sat near the end of a long cobblestone street, tucked between a bakery that always smelled like burnt almonds and a tailor shop that no one ever saw open. Its sign read, "The Second Shelf." Below it, in small, fading letters, a quiet place for what once mattered. Inside, the place was dim, not dark, just soft. Dust floated like memory in shafts of tired light. There were no new books. Only old ones. Books with cracked spines, handwritten notes in the margins, and covers that looked like they'd once been wet from tears or rain. No computers. No catalogs. No system, at least none visible. The woman who ran it was known only as Miss Eliot. Nobody knew her first name. Nobody asked. She wore long cardigans that never matched and glasses always smudged with fingerprints. She walked like a whisper and shelved books like they were made of dreams. And every Wednesday, at exactly 4:04 p.m., a man named Harold came in. Never late. Never missed. He wore the same coat, grey, too big, missing one button, and always carried a notebook he never opened. He didn't check out books. Didn't ask questions. Just wandered. Until one day, something changed. That Wednesday, a girl stepped in behind Harold. She couldn't have been more than 25. Wearing headphones she wasn't listening to. With a look that said she didn't belong, or didn't want to. But something had drawn her there. She didn't speak. Just started walking through the narrow aisles. At one point, her sleeve brushed a shelf and a cascade of dust fell like old confetti. She didn't flinch. Harold noticed her. How could he not? No one ever came on Wednesdays. Especially not at 4:04. He watched her stop in front of a shelf labeled, "Unfinished Stories." She pulled out a book with no title on the spine. Opened it. Then frowned. "No words," she whispered. "Miss Eliot." "From Nowhere and Everywhere," answered. "They are written in the mind of the reader. Some stories, you have to finish yourself." The girl stayed. 4 hours. She didn't read. Just sat in a corner chair that hadn't been used in years. Looking. Listening. Remembering, maybe. Harold approached, which he hadn't done in decades. "You looking for something?" he asked. Voice rough like pages turned too many times. "Not sure," she said. "Maybe something I lost before I knew I had it." He nodded. It was the only answer that made sense in that place. They talked. Slowly. Like two people learning a language made of pauses and glances. Her name was Lily. She had once wanted to be a writer. Then an artist. Then someone who could pay rent. She wasn't angry. Just tired of pretending her dreams were hobbies. Harold told her about how he used to be a teacher. Until a bad day turned into a bad year, and one resignation letter later. He never stepped into a classroom again. "I come here," he said, "because the books don't ask if I gave up. They just let me stay." Weeks passed. Lily kept coming. Not every Wednesday. Sometimes Thursday. Sometimes never. But when she did come, she brought scraps of paper. Doodles. Lines of poetry. Questions with no question marks. Miss Eliot never asked what she was doing. One day, Lily found a shelf labeled, "Dreams Left Behind in Desks." It was filled with half-filled journals, unopened sketchbooks, college essays never submitted. All anonymous. All once important. "How do you have these?" she asked Miss Eliot. "I don't," the woman replied. "They find their way here when people forget where they left them." Lily touched one gently. Open to a random page. Read words that sounded like her own. Maybe it's not about what I'll become, but what I've already been. In moments I let myself believe. She cried. Not loudly. Not even visibly. Just enough that the dust in the air seemed heavier. Harold watched her grow lighter. Not happier, exactly, but more herself. One afternoon, she brought a box. Inside, old notebooks. A painting with only a single brushstroke, a tiny jar of seashells, and a letter addressed to me if I ever try again. She asked Miss Eliot, "Can these stay here?" Miss Eliot smiled. They were already on their way. Years later, the library still stood. The tailor shop was finally replaced with a smoothie bar. The bakery closed. But the second shelf remained, with no Wi-Fi, no Instagram, and still no working catalog. Lily didn't come as often anymore. She was busy, writing. Not books, but scripts for small plays. One of them even had a line inspired by Harold. Harold still came on Wednesdays. His coat still didn't have that missing button. But he no longer carried the unopened notebook. Because one day, he gave it to Lily. "I don't need it anymore," he said. "You already wrote what I couldn't." Reflection. Some places are not meant to be found. They are meant to find you. Some stories are not written by authors, but by choices, regrets, and second chances. And sometimes, the quietest shelf holds the loudest truth. We are never too late to return to ourselves.